It's been a while since I've played the Isle, and after dipping my toes in the experimental herbivorous life and experiencing the sweet taste of a very quick and merciless death, I decided to try my hand at being an herbivore once more. And what better life to live than that of the Gallimimus? Starting off as the baby Gallimimus, the one thing that made up 90% of my experience of a juvenile is that of running and walking and eating and running and walking and eating and seeing much of nothing and floating as well. I thought that living on my own was going to be challenging, but it actually was quite the breeze. After initially panicking and nearly suffering a permanent limb fracture, I learned to calm down and tune into my surroundings. Most youngsters would find a life without parents or siblings to be extremely lonely, but I found it actually quite peaceful and devoid of drama. It filled my heart with the tiniest amount of gratitude when I heard another dinosaur screaming bloody murder because they were being eaten by something in the night, while I was safe. Every now and then I'd get a reminder that I wasn't the only one here, and that my life could too be snuffed out just as easily as this poor soul's life was. The next morning, I did a little bit of exploring and decided to stay close by the river. Another dead body. I really was strongly contemplating about making my home under the underpass, but it really didn't sit right with me having such a claustrophobic territory that if something were to find me, I could easily end up in a dead end down there. So I sought out more open territory. As my body grew, so did my appreciation for my environment and the quiet serenity of it all. I didn't need anybody. I was a one dinosaur herd, and I had made it to adulthood all on my own. From my experience and observing from afar, having a partner or group was a recipe for disaster. It attracted too much unwanted attention, and from my experience, I didn't have any of that so far. So, even though I could hear the calls of other galleys far away, they all went unanswered, at least by me. I stuck by the river, and honestly, I just had fun, just enjoying the scenery. How many other dinosaurs can say they've done this? Not running for their lives and being killed at every turn? Eventually, I found exactly what I was looking for, a very large watering hole, quick access to water whenever I needed it, and a wider array and abundance of food. This was so peaceful, until it wasn't. Honestly, up until this point, all the other dinosaurs in this environment were heard and not seen. This was the first time that I've actually laid eyes on another living creature. And it made me feel very uneasy. I definitely knew there was a risk staying close by the watering hole, especially at night where the vision was impaired, but I didn't want to stray too far from it. As a runner, I got thirsty very quickly. This is the most stressful I've been since I've been born. Since I don't have a herd, I do have to do triple the work looking out while I'm eating or drinking to make sure no one is sneaking up behind me. In my small way of thinking, I'm hoping that the watering hole would draw enough attention that everyone would be distracted with each other. Also, I figured there was an unspoken rule: if you're by the watering hole, there's no violence. I was starting to feel very uneasy with the bumps and the calls in the night, being overshadowed by the thunder, and I felt as though something could sneak up on me, and me not realize it was there. No rest for me. And just when I thought I was alone, I'm quickly reminded how untrue that is. While this area granted a lot of opportunity, it also brought with it the danger that all those unfortunate souls I've been hearing have been experiencing. Running to and fro the water did work up my appetite, but also my thirst. After my initial scare of this large predator, the first I have seen up close, my curiosity gets the best of me. He seems to be alone, though one can never be too careful. With it being so dark and precarious, I would rather have this predator in my sights than not. At the moment, he doesn't seem interested in hunting, and so in a very rare turn of events, we end up sitting together by the water. It would be comically peaceful if the danger didn't still loom at the fact that this creature could get up at any second and end my life. As we're both sitting there, we hear a noise and something just doesn't feel right. I can't help but feel like this creature's not alone. He keeps looking off into the distance as though he's waiting for something or for someone else. I decide to keep my vantage point at the top of this rock, where I could keep him in my sights and anything else that could be sneaking up on me. I know I hear something. That's enough daredevilry for me. After I run off into the night and I'm sure that I'm safe, I find more water. Thinking it was the original water hole, I go closer only to realize that it's a much smaller water hole. Maybe there'll be less drama there. After I worked up an appetite, I have my fill and then head for the water hole. One thing I was really grateful for was the daytime. As advantageous as night vision is, it still cripples you because you can only see so far. I head to the water hole, and I'm actually a little shocked to find that I am not the only one there. There waiting at this very peaceful clearing is a family of Carnos. I don't know why I thought it would be a safe idea to keep drinking from here. What I should have done is gone right away. But I figured if I wasn't bothering them, it wouldn't matter. I did notice, however, one of them trying to sneak behind me, so I kept my eyes up, my ears open, and alert. But then, apparently, the rest of the group got roused by the alpha male. This is the first time I've run into these creatures, and they were fast. Oh my god! I ran quite a distance. I was freaking scared. And there comes a moment in a dinosaur's life where you have to make choices. I've been lucky for most of my life, but that's because I have stayed far away from other dinosaurs and I made decent choices. But the longer you continue in life is the higher risks that you take for survival. And after viewing a really strange red beacon at the top of the mountain peaks, like a bad omen, I decided to go back to the closest source of water, after working up a thirst running from those Carnos. One thing I obviously had not learned is when a dinosaur stakes out a territory and defends it vehemently, sometimes depending on the species, they would go to great lengths to keep defending it. I didn't think as an herbivore, much less a Gallimimus, that I would be anywhat of a threat to them at all. There was already a corpse over there, so I didn't think they had to worry about food, but after seeing one of the males slinking near to me again, after seeing their threatening display, trying to get my fill, I realized I had to get out there as quickly as possible.
Right, I can't drink water?
I was a Gallimimus, and I was fast. But to my horror, I heard behind me that these Carnos were not letting up. They were trying to surround me, and I had enough stamina. All I had to do was lose them in the trees. And I guess I underestimated just how fast these predators were. I could hear them gaining on me, and for the first time, I actually feared legitimately for my life. I tried to take the turn sideways up the cliff face, and because I was running so hard, not really looking where I was going, I slipped, narrowly escaping the jaws of one of the Carnos, and ended up falling wrong on my leg and breaking it. I knew the Carno was right upon me. The only thing I could do was lie down and face it. And that's where my story ends.